first met in person with Mary E. in the summer of 2007. I had arranged with her husband of 15 years, Terrence, to see her for an interview. Mary had entirely agreed, since I was not a newsman, but rather an amateur writer gathering information for a few early college assignments, and if all went according to plan, some pieces of fiction. We scheduled the interview for a particular weekend when I was in Chicago on unrelated business. But at the last moment, Mary changed her mind and locked herself in the couple's bedroom, refusing to meet with me. For half an hour, I sat with Terrence as we camped outside the bedroom door. I, listening, taking notes, while he attempted to calm his wife. The things Mary said made little sense, but fit with the pattern I was expecting. Though I could not see her, I could tell her voice that she was crying. And more often than not, her objections to speaking with me centered around an insurance on her dreams, her nightmares. Terrence apologized profusely when we ceased the exercise, and I did my best to take it in stride. Recall that I wasn't a reporter in search of a story, but merely a curious young man in search of information. Besides, I thought at the time I could perhaps find another similar case if I put my mind and resources to it. Mary was the spout for a small Chicago-based bulletin board system in 1992 when she first encountered Smile.jpg, and her life changed forever. She and Terrence had been married for only 5 months. Mary was one of an estimated 400 people who saw the image, and it was posted as a hyperlink on the BBS. Though she is the only one who has spoken openly about the experience, the rest have remained anonymous or are perhaps dead. In 2005, when I was only in the 10th grade, Smile.jpg was first brought to my attention by my burgeoning interest in web-based phenomenons. Mary was the most often cited victim of what is sometimes referred to as Smile Dog. The being Smile.jpg is reputed to display. What caught my interest was the sheer lack of information, usually to the point that people don't believe it even exists other than a rumor or a hoax. It is unique because though the entire phenomenon centers on a picture file, that file is nowhere to be found on the internet. Certainly, many photo-manipulated litter the web, showing up with the most frequency on sites such as the image board 4chan, particularly the X-focused subboard. It is suspected these are fakes because they do not have the effect the true Smile.jpg is believed to have, namely sudden onset lobe and acute anxiety. This purported reaction in the viewer is one of the reasons the phantom like smile.jpg is regarded with such disdain, since it is patiently observed, though depending on whom you ask, to acknowledge smile.jpg's existence might be just as might of a fear as it is of a disbelief. Neither smile.jpg nor smile.dog is mentioned anywhere on Wikipedia, though the website features articles on such other, perhaps more shock sites as hello.jpg or Two Girls, One Cup. Any attempt to create a page pretending to smile.jpg is deleted by many admins. Encounters with smile.jpg are the stuff of internet legend. Mary E's story is not unique. There are unverified rumors of smile.jpg showing up in the early days of Usenet, and even one tale that in 2002 a hacker flooded the forums of a humor and website Something Awful with a deluge of smile dog pictures. It is also said that in the mid to late 90s that smile.jpg circulated on Usenet, and as an attachment of a chain email with the subject line, "Smile, God loves you." Yet, despite the huge exposure these stunts would generate, there are very few people who admit to having experienced any of them, and no trace of the file or any link has ever been discovered. Those who claim to have seen smile.jpg often weakly joke that they were too busy to save a copy of the picture to their hard drive. However, all alleged victims offer the same description of the photo: a dog-like creature, usually described as appearing similar to a suburban husky, illuminated by the flash of the camera, sits in a dim room, the only background detail that is visible being a human hand extending from the darkness near the left side of the frame. Of course, most attention is given to the dog or dog creature, as most victims are more certain than others of what they claim to see. The muzzle of the beast is split in a wide grin, revealing 2 rows of very white, very straight, very sharp, very human-looking teeth. This, of course, not a description given immediately after viewing the picture, but rather a recollection of the victims who claim to have seen the picture endlessly repeated in their mind's eye during the time they are in reality. These fits are reported to continue, often while the victim sleeps, resulting in very vivid and disturbing nightmares. These may be treated with medications, though in some it is more effective than others. Mary E., I assumed, was not on effective medication. That was why after my visit to her apartment in 2007, I sent out flyers to several folklore and urban legend news groups, websites, and mailing lists, hoping to find the name of a supposed victim of Smile.jpg, who felt more interested in talking about his experiences. For a time, nothing happened, and at length I forgot completely about my pursuits. Since I had begun my freshman year of college and was quite busy, Mary contacted me via email. However, near the beginning of March 2008. Dear Mr. L, I am incredibly sorry about my behavior last summer when you came to interview me. I hope you understand that it was no fault of yours, but rather my own problems that led me to act out as I did. I realized what I could have handled the situation. However, I hope you will forgive me. At the time, I was afraid. You see, for 15 years, I have been haunted by Smile.jpg. Smile.dog comes to me in my sleep every night. I know that sounds silly, but it is true. There is an quality about my dreams, my nightmares, that makes them completely unlike my real dreams I have ever had. I do not move and do not speak. I simply look ahead, and the only thing ahead of me is the scene from the horrible picture. I see the beaking hand, and I see Smile.dog. It talks to me. It is not a dog, of course, though I am not quite sure what it really is. It tells me it will leave me alone if I only do as it asks. All I must do is spread the word. That is how it phrases to demands, and I know exactly what it means. It wants me to show it to someone else, and I could. A week after my incident, I received the mail, a manila envelope with no return address. Inside was only a 3.5-inch floppy. Without having to check, I knew what was on it. I thought for a long time about my options. I could show it to a stranger, a co-worker. I could even show it to Terrence. As much as the idea disgusted me, and what would happen then? Well, if Smile.dog kept its word, I could sleep. Yet if I lied, what would I do? And who was to say something worse than not could happen for me if I did as the creature asked? So I did nothing for 15 years, though I kept the hidden amongst my things. Every night for 15 years, Smile.dog has come to me in my sleep and demanded that I spread the word. For 15 years, I have stood strong. Though there have been hard times. Many of my fellow victims on the BBS board, where I first encountered Smile.jpg, stopped posting. I heard some of them committed suicide. Others remained completely silent, simply disappearing off the face of the web. They are the ones I worry about the most. I hope you will forgive me, Mr. L. But last summer, when you contacted me and my husband about an interview, I was near the breaking point. I decided I was going to give you the floppy. I did not care if Smile.dog was lying or not. I wanted it to end. You were a stranger, someone I had no connection with, and I thought I would not feel sorrow when you took the diskette as part of your research and sealed your fate. Before you arrived, I realized what I was doing was plotting to ruin your life. I could not stand the thought, and in fact I still cannot. I am ashamed, Mr. L, and I hope that this warning will dissuade you from further investigation of Smile.jpg You may in time encounter someone who is, if not weaker than I, than Wally Moore Debris. Someone will not hesitate to follow Smile.Dog's orders. Stop while you are still a fool. Sincerely, Mary E. Terrence contacted me later that month with the news that his wife had killed herself. While cleaning up the various things she'd left behind, closing email accounts and the like, he happened upon the above message. He was a man in Shemless. He wept as he told me to listen to his wife's advice. He'd found a diskette, he revealed, and burnt it while it was nothing but a stinking pile of blackened plastic. The part that most disturbed him, however, was how the diskette had hissed as it melted, like some sort of animal, he said. I will admit that I was a little uncertain about how to respond to this. At first, I thought perhaps it was a joke, with the couple playing with the situation in order to get a raise out of me. A quick check of several Chicago newspapers online, however, provided that Mary was indeed dead. There was, of course, no mention of suicide in the article. I decided that for a time at last, I would not further pursue the subject of Smile.jpg, especially since I had the finals coming up at the end of May. But the world has odd ways of testing us. Almost a year later, after I returned from my interview with Mary, I received another email. Hello, I found your email address through a mailing list. Your profile said you are interested in Smile.Dog. I have saw it. It is not as bad as everyone says. I have sent it to you here, just spreading the word. The final line chilled me to the bone. According to my email client, there was one file attachment called Naturally Smile.jpg. I considered downloading it for some time. It was mostly likely a fake, I imagined, and even if it wasn't, I was never wildly convinced of Smile.jpg's powers. Mary E's account had shaken me, yes, but she was probably mentally unbalanced anyway. After all, how could a simple image do what Smile.jpg was said to accomplish? What sort of creature was it that could break one's mind with only the power of the eye?